welcome to a special edition of the In the Money Players podcast. It's actually special in the sense that it's a mashup. We are joining forces with the Santa Anita team and the Santa Anita preview show to deliver one show about all the stakes on opening day. We'll open it up also to any other races anybody has a really strong opinion about. I'm your host, Peter Thomas Fornital of the In the Money Media Network. I'm here from my home office, semi-flooded after all that crazy rain last night. We call this the Brooklyn Bunker. And joined today by two guests. One is a man you know from the Santa Anita preview show. You know him if you've ever spent any time really at Santa Anita because, I think he pretty much sleeps in the boiler room there. And he's a guy I always loved talking racing with, talking baseball with. Was very pleased to have him as a guest, actually, at Saratoga, part of my Degenerate Summer Camp program that we run every year up there in the foothills of the Adirondacks. He is Jeff Chappie Chapman. Chappie, what's up?
Good morning, gentlemen. Yes, I am live at Santa Anita Park, and everyone's getting ready for Christmas. We are getting ready for opening day. It's been quite crazy around here, but a good kind of crazy. And I know, Pete, we were just talking off air before we started that the rest of the country is getting bombarded with terrible weather. And I believe we're going to be about 77 degrees and sunny here in Arcadia, California. So Duke is somewhere close to me. We're enjoying the weather. Hope to see him live here on opening day, and I can't wait.
Oh, that's great stuff. And yeah, I'm having some serious geographical envy. The Laurel card scheduled for the 26th. That's been moved to the 30th. New York, their break well-timed this year. All eyes on Santa Anita and Gulfstream come the 26th. But of course, Santa Anita, this opening day card, it's one that I circle on the calendar every year is one to pay attention to. I'm going to be covering it on TV this year for our friends at Sky Sports Racing if you're watching this from overseas. But the other guest on this show, actually, there's another guest who's coming. He's stuck in traffic. I don't know. It's LA. Who knows? That's the price you pay for this lovely weather that you get. George Odazar will be with us at some stage. But the man on the bottom panel, if you're watching on YouTube, and if you're watching on YouTube, by the way, we'd love to hear your thoughts on these races as well. Give us your best bet in the comments for this Santa Anita opening day card. And a man who's known for landing his best bets and many others. I could say this honestly, was the guest on the single most popular show we've ever done on the In the Money Media Network for his JK+1 appearance, where he got into his life and background. He is a regular in the backyard at Saratoga, Southern California racetracks. And, wherever he is, he's generally betting on his phone. Professional horse player, Duke Mathis. Duke, what's up?
What's up, Pete? Weather's good here. I don't know what everybody's complaining about. It's it's sunny. It's in the 60s right now, and it's 8 in the morning. So if you can get away from it, you should.
Yeah, maybe next year I'll finally make it. I've been to most races that I ever, most of the major races in the USA I've been to, most of the major racing days. The two holdouts for me that I still need to do on the bucket list, Santa Anita opening day and Pacific Classic, because of the clash with Saratoga. I've never done a Pacific Classic, but the number one on the list would be this Santa Anita opening day. Is it an annual thing for you? I know, Duke, with all the tracks you bet, you don't always get to go racing as often as you want. How often do you get down there for this?
I usually go opening day. I'm on the fence this year. I got to talk to Chappie into getting me a good seat. He's got pull at that Santa Anita track. So if he can get me into a nice spot up there, maybe I'll think about going.
All right, good stuff.
I always hold a few things back for the Dukes of the world. I know he's at Duke's handicapping, then he's off surfing somewhere, and then he calls me Christmas Eve, Chappie, can you get me in? So I know the routine. So Duke, yeah. I got you covered.
All right, thanks, Chap.
The surfboard might be one of the few places you haven't had a bet from, but hoping you'll get down there for opening day, because there is a contest, $1,500 live bankroll event going to be going on, and yes, you can play it, through Express Bet, First Bet. I think it's Express Bet that you have to play the contest on, but sometimes it switches. Anyway, check on that. But if you're in person, this I can guarantee you, there's a $5,000 bonus if you win and you're on site. So that's something to pay attention to and think about as well. While we wait for George, I say we just dive right in. And this card, it hits the ground running. It's kind of cool. We start off with a stakes race. Race number 1 on Boxing Day, Monday, December 26th, is a grade 2. We've got the Santa Anita Mathis Mile, 200,000 in the pot. And we're going, of course, 1 mile on the turf, a field of 7 to kick things off. Duke, you're our special guest. Let's bring you in right away for your thoughts on this one. What do you like in here?
This race is going to depend on pace. There's not a lot of pace in here. Sumter could be the controlling speed, although last time when he sprinted, he came from way back. So I'm a little hesitant to pick him. I don't think this is really a grade 2 type field. So I'm going to take a shot with a long shot here. The 2-horse number, the name is One More Bid. I know he just broke his maiden last time, but this is a straight 3-year-old race, and beat Olders, had trouble last time, and just ran like a good horse, like it could be a good horse. And I don't think he's meeting much in here. He could get maybe just a tracking trip, and maybe just find the right spot.
I love that idea. I mean, if Sumter doesn't control it on the front end on the stretch out, you could see One More Bid maybe making the lead, or at the very least just getting an absolutely beautiful trip. And that's a pretty good price on the morning line, 10-1 for this rising 3-year-old for whom the penny may have just dropped. Do you like anything to go with him, or is this more of just a speculative play? Get involved with him?
Well, the horses I don't like Handy Dandy. I don't like Agatino. I watched the tapes on I'm a Gambler. He didn't seem like he would be a 2-turn type horse. He ran kind of like on the wrong lead in the stretch in those races over there in Ireland. And he just didn't seem like, to me, like he was a top-notch horse. Balnikov is, but Balnikov has 0 speed. So if there's no pace, I can't pick Balnikov as the favorite. So that's why I leaned on One More Bid just because of the pace scenario. And I think he is the horse that's coming up to his best race.
I like the sound of it. Chappie, let's bring you back in for your thoughts on this one. How do you want to light this candle for Santa Anita opening day?
Okay, like Duke said, I right at the top of the page, I put not much speed signed on. Obviously, Sumter could be the lone F. And I do agree that this is not the typical grade 2 type of race. For that reason, I did land on Balnikov. Obviously, there isn't much pace in the race. He's kind of a deep closer. But I do believe this horse, the race the last time out at Keeneland was terrific. I watched the workout. This horse came back to work on XPTV on December 5th on the training track, which is kind of Phil D'Amato's go-to, with Gregorian chant, and absolutely handled Gregorian chant on the work. I know that's not a turf work, but that's kind of Phil's MO. As for some of the other horses, like he said, I'm a Gambler, an interesting one, something you guys won't see ever in the United States, actually ran back-to-back days in August. Ran on August 27th. Well, let's try it again on August 28th, which is quite amazing. I wasn't too impressed there. Handy Dandy strikes me of a horse that likes Del Mar a little bit more than Santa Anita. So Balnikov, yes, I'm going to eat the chalk here in the first race, but I think that's clearly the horse to beat, and I would put it with Sumter just because of the pace scenario.
Makes sense to me. I mean, if you're betting Balnikov, you're hoping that it's the kind of, once in a while you'll see these paceless races where the closers get kind of invited in, and almost by default it just turns into a sprint, and then they can use their closing kick to get involved. We'll see how it plays out. If the front runners play their cards right, it's going to be tricky for them, but as we know, they don't always do that. Let's skip ahead to race number 3, where we've got more grade 2 action in the form of the San Gabriel. We're going 1 1/8 on the turf and a field of 7 once again. Master of Foxhounds predicted to lead the betting with Mike Smith in the irons for Phil D'Amato. Chappie, are you with or against the favorite in the San Gabriel?
Well, I'm going to try to beat Master of Foxhounds. Barely lost to Hong Kong Harry last time out.
Easy for you to say.
Very talented. I do think there is quite a bit of speed signed up in here. I'm going to go with a horse that I've been on many a time, and I've needed a few scores and always comes up a little bit short. But that would be Dicey Mo Chara. 3-1 on the morning line, but I think this race is going to set up well for Dicey Mo. I think the horse to beat in here is Prince Obama. who has tactical speed. Flavian Pratt jumps aboard once again and won last time out in the Hollywood Turf Cup. But I'm going to take Dicey Mochara from off the pace here. Duke, I'm going to leave it to you. I've got to actually we are live here, so we can talk out loud. I have to send the link to George, who just drove via traffic problems. So go ahead and take it over, right, Duke, George. As I send George the link as we speak.
I have a tangential question for you, Duke, on a horse like Prince Obama. What do you make of the 1.5 mile cutback to the 1 1/8 today for this runner? Obviously, ran a terrific race going the 1.5 mile last time. Do you think this San Gabriel distance might be too sharp for a runner like that, or do you think he's a prime contender?
I think the distance is fine for Prince Obama. I think 1 1/8 might be his best distance, actually. But I just don't know. I don't know if he's good enough. That's the question. This field, again, I wouldn't consider this another grade 2 field, but I mean, Master of Foxhounds is definitely a proven grade 2 type horse. And Dicey Mochara is like a long distance, horse. And Flashiest has lost his form. Bob and Jackie hasn't run in a while. Go On looks overmatched. Rip City is a little cheaper. So I just don't know where to go. I needed Master of Foxhounds last time, who was supposed to just go out and set it up for Hong Kong Harry, and he kind of just kept going. And he might do that again, because I tell you what, he ran a bang up race last time. So if they let him go, it's lights out. They won't catch him. If he gets an easy lead, if Rip City lets him go from the rail, he gets an easy lead. I don't think they'll catch him. The way D'Amato's going, D'Amato could win with any horse in the last month or so. So I don't think they'll catch him. So I'm going to probably lean on Master of Foxhounds, but no major numbers.
George, I think we might be getting some feedback through your speaker. If you have a pair of headphones to put on, that would be extremely helpful. And maybe in the meantime, until you get that sorted out, you can hit mute on your speakers, if you would help. Though maybe it stopped. Maybe it's okay now. George, try to talk.
Thanks, George, for all the feedback. While I'm talking on it.
Now you're okay, George.
You show up late, and then you
tech problems. It's live TV. We make it happen. George, try to speak. Let's see if you sound okay. George, can you hear me?
Can you hear us now, George?
Maybe George muted us.
I think he did.
Maybe I should make fun of him a little more.
We'll get it figured out. I think what's happening, Pappy, just so you know, is I think he might have muted the speakers, which is why he's not hearing us. But he needs headphones because he's got a little bit of a delay for some reason. Anyway, we can this is going to remain on YouTube, but I'll cut it out of the podcast version. Let me make a note. 13 minutes. We'll do some chopping and editing. But Duke,
show number one, we've got things to work through.
It sounds like a fairly tepid vote for number 2, Master of Foxhounds for Duke in the San Gabriel. Let's move it along to the San Antonio. And Chappie, will start with Duke this time, so you can see if you can work out our tech ends. And you can just mute your mic if you want to talk to George while we're doing our thing. Race number 6, 4:32 Eastern, 1:32 local. The scheduled post time for this grade 2 San Antonio. We're going 1.16 miles on the dirt, and we've got a 6-pack going forward. Country Grammar making his return to the races in this one with Frankie Dettori up. Notable jockey booking there for sure. Duke, what's your view of this race?
Well, we got a 6-pack with 3 Baffords, but one's an also ran. Hudson Ridge, I'm not sure why he's in here. Again, this is going to be a pace scenario race. Hopkins should make the lead. I'm not a big Hopkins fan. I thought he was all out last time to win that 2X. I think the race comes down to Stiletto Boy and Country Grammar. I lean on Stiletto Boy just because I think he'll be a bigger price. I'm a little worried about the layoff and Mojer coming off a layoff with this type of horse. He may not be fit enough. So a slight lean on Stiletto Boy, but Country Grammar, I'd love to see Frankie Dettori in town. I'd love to see him get a win right off the bat because he's one of the best riders of all time.
Absolutely. One of the really exciting elements of the Santa Anita meet is the depth of this jockey colony, and Dettori certainly at the top of the list of the new acquisitions amongst all the House Hall of Famers you have, as well as John Velasquez, citing rider from up north in Kazushi Kimura, Japanese national, riding out there as well. It's going to be fun to see. All right, let's sound check our man Giorgio and see if we've got him. See if we've got him in the house. George, if you have headphones, that might help with some of that little feedback. But I think it might be okay. How are you doing? First of all, you survived.
I'm doing great. Can you guys hear me?
You sound good. Yeah, I think this works.
Not bad. Sorry. This is what happens when you get old guys on a show. Then there's a lot of stuff going on. But great to be on the show. Love you guys. Duke, good to see you.
Good to see you, George.
And what an exciting opening day. I can't wait. It's going to be great. I heard you guys talking a little bit about some of the great races. Obviously, we got some spectacular races, some great promotions as well. So I'll let you lead me as to where you want me to go.
Excellent. We're in the midst of talking about the San Antonio, if you want to get a thought on that one. But while you get oriented and get stuff in front of you, why don't I talk about some of those promotions you mentioned? I got some notes here from the marketing team. There's this $1 million guaranteed payout for a single ticket in the Rainbow Bet that I'm meant to mention. We talked before about the $1,500 opening day handicapping challenge, $5,000 on-track bonus. The Showviver contest is back. You can access that, and eventually there'll also be the Pick'em contest up there. SantaAnita.com/contest is where to find all the info on that. And then if you're an express bet or first bet player, there's going to be hit and split bonus on the pick fours on opening day. So some extra opportunities to make some money, $20,000 worth of hit and splits on the early pick four, the middle pick four, and the late pick four. 5,000 each on the early and middle, and 10,000 on the late. So some cool opportunities there. And with that word from our sponsors out of the way, we'll bring George back in for your thought on the San Antonio. Is it as simple as Country Grammar and Stiletto Boy, or do you have any other thoughts on this one, George?
Well, I certainly think Country Grammar is the one to beat. I think an interesting newcomer, or even though he's 4 years old, is Hopkins with J.J. Hernandez aboard. This is like the up-and-comer for Bob Baffert, a youngster who certainly looked fantastic on debut, losing to Chaz. But I think, just as an interesting 6-1 shot, Hopkins is one I'm going to be using in some of my exotics, along with Country Grammar.
Chappie, let's bring you back in for your thought on the San Antonio.
I'm kind of with Duke here. I think it's a 2-horse race. At Country Grammar, clearly the horse to beat. You're not getting any value there. I'd give the other look to Stiletto Boy. Haywood's Beach likes Santa Anita. I did watch the recent work once again on XBTV. Wasn't as impressed as I thought I might be, so I've narrowed it down to the same two that Duke said. Stiletto Boy, just because the price is going to be much better, and the race goes through Country Grammar and Frankie Dettori.
The rubber hits the road here late in the Santa Anita opening day card. Of the last 4 races, 3 of them are grade 1s. We'll talk about them to close out the show here. Starting off with the Brea grade 1 action for the 3-year-old fillies, going 7 furlongs on the dirt. 8 horses going postward. 5:35 Eastern, 2:35 local. Chappie, we'll keep it with you.
All right. Well, obviously, as Duke said earlier, this race is going to go through Bob Baffert, and he's got several runners in here. Under the Stars, Drew the Rail. This horse is going to take some play. Midnight Memories and Ganadora, by the way, just worked together last time on December 14th. Once again, you can catch that on XBTV. Midnight Memories looked much the best in the morning work. I'm going to go with a price here. I'm going to go to the outside, the number 8, Awake at Midnight for Doug O'Neill. This horse, I think the turn back to 1 turn suits this horse very well. I like the price at 8-1. I like the outside draw, and I think the 7 panels will be perfect for this horse. And with all of the Baffert signed on, I think this horse will get overlooked. So at a price, at a horse who I think is better at 1 turn and like Santa Anita, I'll go with Awake at Midnight.
Any you want to mention to go with Chappie specifically, or just all about those?
Under the Stars worked with Taba last time out and worked very well. So I've got to use Under the Stars, Midnight Memories. And I give a little bit of look to Ain't Easy coming back second off of a layoff, who started off first 2 times on the dirt, winning at open lengths with Rosario up. Rosario comes back in town, jumps on Ain't Easy, and I like the price at 6-1. So I think a couple of the Baffords at Ain't Easy, along with Awake at Midnight.
Duke, let's bring you back in for your thought on who's going to be the best of this group of 3-year-old fillies.
Like Chappie was saying, I spent a little time on XBTV because these horses of Baffords have been working against one another a couple times. Ganadora worked with Midnight Memories. I thought Midnight Memories was best in that workout. And Under the Stars worked with Midnight Memories. And Under the Stars also worked with Taiba last time, which Chappie mentioned, and really held their own against Taiba. And I thought that was a really, really good workout. That being said, so I think Under the Stars and Midnight Memories are the 2 better Baffords, and they're probably the 2 best horses in this race. I don't know about the trip for Under the Stars from the rail. It's a tough post going 7/8. Pratt can obviously work out a trip, but I mean, he's got to either go or sit, and if he sits, he might get covered up. So I'm probably leaning on Midnight Memories. I hate to give out favorites, but Midnight Memories just seems to be the right Baffert horse, and I just don't really think any of these others are up to the races of Under the Stars and Midnight Memories. Maybe Ain't Easy, if Ain't Easy went back to her races back as a young 3-year-old. She was better early on, I think, than she is now. But D'Amato, again, I said earlier, is hotter than hell, and he's probably not entering here just to run third. So I'm leaning on Midnight Memories over Under the Stars and Ain't Easy.
All right, 4 with 1-5 for Duke in there. George has been a little in and out. I think we're just going to skip ahead to race number 10, where the horse we've been talking about already on the show, Taba, the rising 3-year-old. I guess if I'm saying right, maybe it should be rising 4-year-old at this time. I don't know what the right term is. I got to figure that out. But I like the idea of using that term for these late season horses about to for the calendar about to turn. Taba, one of the horses JK noted on our end of year show that he's really excited to see what he's got in this race and then beyond for next year. But it's a field of 9, and it's no walkover for him, at least. What do you think of Taba and the rest here, Duke, in the Malibu?
Taba is the obvious class of this race. If Taba runs the numbers Taba has run in the past, this race is all but over. I was a little worried that Taba worked with Under the Stars and didn't really look any better than Under the Stars in that workout. Mm-hmm. That worried me a little bit. So I am a bettor, so I have to pick something that's a price, and I'm going to go with Nakatomi. Nakatomi was super impressive on the undercard on Breeders' Cup Day. He broke a little slow from an inside post, steadied going into the turn, and then just made a terrific move to get up and beat, I believe, a Baffert horse, I think, that was favored in that race. He just looked like a horse that was just really, really on the improve and got a decent enough figure, I think, to maybe, if Taba's not on his best game, might be able to get it done at a price.
Sounds like for your horizontal play, though, Taba will certainly figure prominently in the mix, or are you completely against?
No, I'm not against Taba. You have to use Taba. I mean, I probably will bet most of my picks to Nakatomi, but I'll probably play a big exact Taiba over Nakatomi.
I always love that idea of trying to leverage your opinion in another pool. It's a way to get insurance that instead of hedging and bleeding away equity is a way to get insurance where actually, if it comes in, you get properly paid when you're almost right. So I admire that approach. Chappie, how about your thoughts on the Malibu?
Well, like Duke, before I watched the work, I thought that Taba was the stone cold lead pipe lock of the week. And, Taba probably wins drawing off on the cutback, 2 for 2, got tons of talent. The work was a little bit worrisome for me as well. And maybe that's just more of a saying Under the Stars is going to run huge. Had Under the Stars not drawn the rail, I think I would have been all over her. But a couple horses I figured in an exacta or underneath would be Apprehend and Duke said Nakatomi, both prices. I think Apprehend on the cutback, there's going to be plenty of speed in here. We know Forbidden Kingdom is going to be absolutely winging it from the start. Straight No Chaser is going to show some speed from the outside. And I believe Messier is going to go as well. So I just figured it's still Taiba's race clearly to go through. And I figured Apprehend and Nakatomi underneath.
Give me your phone. My phone's not working. My phone is not working. Nothing's working. The computer's
George
not
out
working.
Of the picture there, Chappie. You have the power to do that.
Yeah.
There you go. I think we're done with George for today. We'll get that sorted out and we'll have him on another show. We did our best. But yeah, it's a really interesting rendition of the Malibu, and obviously, it could portend big things for who the big horse to step into the void with so many horses retiring that's out there. I didn't prep you for this, Duke, but just off the top of your head, do you believe that Taiba could be that horse to really be sort of like the it horse, the number one horse in the division going forward, or would you have your eye on somebody else to grab that mantle?
No, Taiba's a very classy horse. He didn't really he drew a one post in the Breeders' Cup Classic against Lightline. I thought he might run second there. It was a little disappointing he didn't run second with the unfortunate epicenter ups, pulling up in that race. So he didn't really run a terrific race going a mile and a quarter, but I mean, at races going a mile and an eighth, he's got figures that are up there. I mean, they're up there, in the 110 range, and that's a good racehorse. I mean, he's definitely the horse that could go forward this year and be at the top of the handicap division.
I didn't think the ride did him any favors in the Breeders' Cup personally, but maybe it was more the distance, and maybe I was being harsh. It happens. We can be a little rough on these jockeys from time to time.
And Mikey's getting up there. You got to take it easy on Mikey. He's getting up there in age.
He still can produce some brilliant stuff from time to time. That's for sure. Chappie, how about you in terms of that bigger question about a horse, any horse you're particularly looking forward to seeing run in calendar year 2023? Does one leap to mind? Maybe it's even Taiba.
Yeah. I've always thought I've been a big fan of Taiba from day one, and I think there's unlimited talent there. So I think this could be the next star for Baffert. I'm always looking for the first timers, the 2-year-olds, the ones that haven't ran yet that maybe I can get. As Duke and I have talked quite often here, so I'm not going to give you a name yet because I don't have one. But we watch plenty of replays, but we also watch a lot of workouts on XBTV, and sometimes you can catch something and get that price before everybody else sees it. And I'm just looking to make money on a price, and I don't have any particular horse in mind quite yet. Whatever one that pays $38 that I've singled, that will be the horse that I'm looking for.
Spoken like a true gambler, which we love about. We love about you, and we love about doing these shows. We've got one more race to talk about, and it's a bit of a head scratcher. With a morning line favorite 7-2 in this field of 11, the Grade 1 American Oaks for the 3-year-old fillies, a mile and a quarter on the turf. Race number 11 to close things out. 7:11 Eastern, 4:11 local. Chappie, who do you like in the nightcap?
This is a tough race. I can't wait to hear Duke's. I am strictly a West Coast guy. Now I go back and watch some of these replays, but I play only here. So I don't know as much other than watching some of these races back from the horses that come in from the East Coast. So I'm going to stick with a West Coast horse. Obviously, the Chad Brown horse is the horse to beat. Pratt jumps off of the Mark Glatt Bell Street Bridie that won very nicely by 4 1/4 lengths here at Del Mar and jumps on the Chad Brown. I'm going to go with the rail horse Rhea Moon for Phil D'Amato. As we've said many a time, it's Phil D'Amato's world. We're just living in it out here. I do know that usually the East Coast horses come in here and dominate these races, but I believe that all the more that I'm going to get a price on Rhea Moon, she seems to be improving with leaps and bounds. Had a little bit of trouble last time out, got shuffled back, and had a very nice turn of foot late. Has won nicely 2 races in a row. Has never been off the board at Santa Anita, and I think we're going to get more than 8-1 on the morning line on a Phil D'Amato. I'll take my chances with the local horse in Rhea Moon.
Don't really have to twist my arm to use a Phil D'Amato runner well drawn at double-digit odds, as much as I'm always, preaching about how dangerous the East Coast turf form shipping west is. Let's bring in the cleanup hitter, Duke Mathis, to give his thoughts on the winner.
Cleanup might not be good here. Talk about a tough race. I mean, you could make a case for almost every horse in this race. And not only that, where's the pace going to be? This race is 1.25 miles on the grass. And a lot of these races, the horse that gets the lead has a very good chance of winning. I mean, probably wins 3 out of 10, 3 or 4 out of 10 of these if they get the lead in this kind of race. Who is that horse going to be? Is it going to be Sparkle Blue? Is it going to be Bell Street? What is that? Bridie? Is that what the name of that is? Bell Street.
That is Bell Street Bridie.
Bridie. What's a Bridie?
Like, I think it's just like a bride, but like a nickname for a bride, like Bridie.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting name. I just don't know where the pace is going to be. I think it's going to be Sparkle Blue. Rosario likes to do that, likes to go to the lead in these long distance races. So I definitely will be using Sparkle Blue. I will definitely be using Rhea Moon based on what Chappie said and the hottest trainer on the planet. I'll give you a really crazy long shot. Oakhurst. Chappie talked about California. He's a California guy. These are California connections. The horse has been running on the East Coast, Little Red Feather. It switches barns to Phil D'Amato, the hottest trainer on the planet, right? So, I mean, he doesn't, and he gets, not only that, he gets Hector Berrios, who is a tremendous save ground grass rider that's come kind of, for most people, come out of nowhere, but not for me. I always thought he was a really underrated grass rider in Florida. So that horse, I just think if you're looking to play supers, tries, look for Oakhurst to run a good second, third, or fourth in here and just sit a rail trip, because this race is so evenly matched. You got horses like Skims, who's solid. You got Salima with Chad Brown. They're all decent, but they're all about the same. There's no stick out in this race. So I always look for a price when you're going in a race where there's just so many horses that are equally matched.
If I were listing picks for you, does 214 sound about right, or do you like Oakhurst more than that?
I would probably in a pick 5 or pick 4 sequence use a lot in here. I'd probably use 1, 2, 4, 6, 7, 9, which seems like a lot, but this is the kind of strange type of race where you got to take a chance. Like, I would probably take a shot in single, maybe Sparkle Blue on a few tickets, the number 2. But I think it's a really good betting race. It's a really good race to bet tries and supers. And I don't usually say that. I'm not usually a try super type guy. I'm usually more exacta and pick 4, pick 5 type guy.
While we have you, I'm going to ask you a general handicapping question to help out the viewers and listeners, Duke. What do you make of, what tools do you use to evaluate a runner like the number 6 mise en scène when it comes to trying to evaluate that European form?
Very difficult. I mean, I don't have speed figures for European runners, so that makes it hard on me. I think the class edge by running in the Breeders' Cup Filly Mare Turf, which obviously was, a grade 1
good form,
top notch race, and didn't get beat up too bad. They got beat 6 lengths. It's the horse has to be used just in that sense, just because this is a big drop in class. Just based on that alone. So, I don't have a lot for people to go off of. I think watch that replay. Try to watch those races, those foreign races. And a lot of these races are just kind of like a guessing game. When you get 11 evenly matched fillies growing on the grass, going 10 furlongs, it's a tough one.
Let's get to the best bets idea that Chappie, I thought this was a smart idea he had to wrap up the show, to give us a chance either to underline an opinion we've already talked about or potentially bring in a race that we haven't talked about yet. Chappie, where do you want to go for that?
All right, I had said best bet. Now I'm gonna switch it up a little bit. I'm gonna go with the price play of the day that I'm gonna use.
That works. No, that's one reading of best bet. I like that.
I'm gonna go to race 5, which is a tough maiden special weight going a mile on the turf. If you watch the races and watch some replays, the 2 horses to beat and 2 horses that everyone's going to bet would be the 2 Hawker, who had a lot of trouble last time, was down on the rail and could not get through, was loaded in the stretch. And of course, Dandy Man Shines, who comes out of some grade 3s and closed to run second in that race. The price play for me actually is going to be, and I believe this horse will be higher than the morning line odds, is the 10 horse Smart Code for Mark Glatt. First time out, they were giving this horse a race, which Mark Glatt normally does. He's a little bit better first time out now, but this horse is a router, sprinted against a very talented Arabian Lion. Now, this horse, second time out, went long on the turf, ran in the same race that Dandy Man Shines comes out of, runs 4th. This horse was checked early, a little bit rank, dropped all the way back to last at about the 3/8 pole, made a big run on the turn, didn't switch leads, but you could tell was very green, but also had a lot of talent. And I think this horse is going to move way up third time out, adds the blinkers here. 10 hole isn't the greatest post going a mile. And with Kyle Frey, and I, like I said, I believe Hawker, Dandy Man Shines, and the newcomer Maltese Falcon, because Pratt jumps aboard, those 3 are going to take so much play that I think we're going to get a big price on Smart Code, who I think is going to, and had a very, very wide trip into the stretch as well. And I think this horse is going to move way up. So my price play is Smart Code in the 5th, hopefully to close out the early pick 5.
I like the sound of that. Duke, that was a compelling case for a long shot from Chappie. You can answer the question any way you want, but if I ask you for your best bet on the card, where does your brain go?
That race is interesting, that race that Chappie was talking about. This won't be my best bet or anything, but
we'll take all we can get from you.
That Maltese Falcon race was interesting. I watched that tape. That race, you know how they run over there? They run in groups. Like that race was won by a horse that broke away from a rail post and just kind of got away. And this horse came from a far outside group and beat everybody else by a lot. So I think Maltese Falcon is definitely a horse to be reckoned with in there. And a crazy bomb in that race for Chappie to throw in his tries is Zio Joe. He's got a really tough post, but had a really tough trip last time too. So Zio Joe might be a horse in the future that might be a good bomb for people to keep an eye on.
Great.
I'm going to give you the best play of the day. He's obviously a price, because I would never give out a horse that would be short odds as my best play of the day. So I'm going to go to race. Where the heck is it?
I can filibuster a little if you need
a flipping screens here. Okay.
Go ahead.
You can go ahead. What do you want to say?
I was going to throw in a quick. We were talking about some of the opening day festivities. First of all, obviously, just to remind everybody, first post is 11 a.m. and we're doing some things honoring Flightline. We will have a Flightline print here, and from 9:45 to 10:15, we will have a signing with John Sadler and Flavian Pratt for the print. So get out early to get in line. There isn't much time. Obviously, Flavian's on a time limit, but there will be additional prints available as there's 2,000 prints. I'm not sure how many are going to go out there, but as supplies last. But they're a terrific print with all 6 wins for Flightline. There's some other special things going on that day honoring the spectacular horse who won the Malibu last year on opening day. So just throwing it out there.
I love that.
Yeah, it's too bad we don't get to see Flightline run a few more times. I think that would have been super special to see him win the Dubai race or the Saudi race, but that's for another day. My best bet comes in race 7, and I gave this angle out the last time I was on the Santa Anita show with Tom Quigley, and this one's even better because the last time that we took Mario Gutierrez off a horse from Doug O'Neill, and we put I believe it was Edwin Maldonado, I believe. The horse ran at like 13 or 14 to 1, ran second. Not as, if people follow me, they know that I'm not thinking Mario Gutierrez is a very good rider. So I even asked Paul Redham if I'd like to work for him, because if you screw up as many times as Mario has and you still get to ride all these horses, I would love to take a job with Paul Redham, and he has plenty of jobs for me to do. So if you're listening, Paul, I would love that.
You win a couple of derbies, you engender some loyalty, I suppose.
Yeah. Yes. He did win 2 derbies, but I think I could have rode those 2.
I wouldn't wish that on 4 horses.
Duke pulls no punches, that's for sure, which we love.
So I don't even know how to pronounce this one. Yeah, I'll leave that to you, Pete. The number 9 horse.
This one is called La Deuxième Étoile.
Okay, so that's the name of the horse that I'm picking. This horse ran 2 back against Big Beauty. Now Big Beauty is definitely the horse to beat, especially switching to Pratt. But I thought La Deuxième Étoile ran really good that day, just right behind Big Beauty, and that's with Mario, right? And then next time goes a mile and gets, an even worse ride, if I can say that. Now switches to Frankie Dettori. Now Frankie knows how to ride the hill, I'm sure, because Frankie's used to riding up and down hills all the time. So I don't know what kind of price we're gonna get here, but I think La Deuxième Étoile is the lock of the day.
I love it. Number 9 in race 7. Very, very confident words from Duke. And it sounds like you'd be playing in exotics with Big Beauty and just betting win.
Yeah, I'm going to try to beat, Big Beauty's definitely the horse to beat, but I think that horse could turn the tables on him just with the rider switch alone.
I like it. Any other thoughts on how to bet it? Keep it simple.
I would keep it simple, bet it to win, and box it in exacta with Big Beauty. Let's keep it simple.
This has been great fun, Duke. Pleasure having you. We're going to have you a bunch more throughout 2023. Chappie, we will be doing a lot of cross-pollination between your weekend preview show and the In the Money Players podcast, guesting back and forth, etc. Going to be a lot of fun as far as that goes. We remind folks, a lot of stuff going on. santanita.com/contest. That's one great link to check out. The pick 4. Every pick 4 on opening day has a hit and split bonus if you're playing on Express Bet or on First Bet. We'll mention the contest, the big opening day $1,500 contest, one more time as well. And if you can get out to Santa Anita, have a chance to get that signed poster and also be eligible for the $5,000 extra bonus that is available. So thanks to George for his brief cameo on the show. We'll get him back in a more permanent way for next time. Thanks to Duke. Thanks to Chappie. Thanks to Lauren and Alan, Andrew, and the team at Santa Anita. So much fun to work with. I'm Peter Thomas for Natal. May you win all your Santa Anita opening day photos.
Happy holidays, guys.
Yeah,